Yo, it's your boy Uncle Cooley. Welcome back to the Toast Up Podcast, man. This is episode 32. I have a guest. I'm super excited to introduce him to y'all. He's a writer, he's a father, he's an educator, and my guy right here is a personal developer, man. So everybody give a warm welcome to my man Rone, man. How you feeling today, Brisky?
Thank you. I'm feeling good today, man.
Yes, sir, Ski.
Feeling good.
So today is what? What's the date? It is July 27th, 2024.
Yes.
Currently we are having a conversation, and to give y'all a little background on how I met Ron is I met him at Kutztown University through a mutual friend. If you know, you know. But we never really had the opportunity to talk on an intellectual level.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad that you accepted that you wanted to be on the platform, man. I'm super excited, and I'm looking forward to actually hearing your perspective on life, and so you can enlighten the viewers on your insight. So, I know you said you were feeling good, but tell me, how are you feeling, bro? Like what's going on? Talk to the people. Talk to me, Brisky.
I'm high energy, man.
Okay.
I'm excited for so much, personal development.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited in things that's going on in my career.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited with just the bonds and relationships I've been having as of lately. More so with my daughter, we've been real locked in. We always been locked in, but as of lately, she just been showing me sides of development that it's been blowing my mind. So, I really feel good. I'm happy to be here. Super excited, brother.
And let's touch on that. So,
Please do.
You became a father at 19, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So to witness somebody grow, like from, a newborn baby to the person she is today, and to see your perspective growing, like what are some of the things that changed in your life? Like what are some mental breakthroughs, or what are some of the things that you felt like, dang, like this is what life is really about, a journey?
Man, when I first had my daughter, it was during the time where I was also preparing to go to college, right? So it made me think about being intentional of the things I was doing. So instead of going to school without a plan or without knowing my major, it made me be more focused about, okay, I'm going to school, but like, what things are you doing to help you when you get out of here? Because I have a child, I have to financially take care of her. So it just made me game plan a lot more. It made me be more intentional about the things that I was doing. And just watching her grow and myself, because again, I was 19, right? So seeing her grow and myself grow, it's just like, wow, it's amazing, bro. Like, there's no handbook when it comes to parenting, right? And I feel like I have learned so much. She has taught me a lot in the 6 years she's been here. And I taught her things, of course, as a father, but it's been amazing, bro. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change it at all.
That's what's up. God bless, bro.
Appreciate
so let me ask you this, because I want to paint pictures for the audience. Please. What are some of the type of like for an example, before you had your daughter, and after, like, what are some of the things that you caught yourself doing before her, and then like you be like, you know what, I can't do that right now, like that, like if I was by myself, in the sense of if I didn't have any kids, I would have acted this way. Like maybe like being a lot more aggressive, a lot more egotistical, a lot more selfish, or like what are some of the stories that you felt like, dang, if I didn't have my daughter, I probably would have did this?
If I didn't have my daughter, I wouldn't have started the process of going to therapy.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I say that because when Ava was born, that's my daughter's name. When she was born, I realized there were a lot of things with myself that I needed to address, but I didn't know how to address it. That's when I went to Kutztown, right? And I went through a period of depression because, for one, I'm away from my newborn child. I'm away from my girlfriend. And that was frustrating. So while I was up school, I found therapy. And because of that, I began to touch on childhood traumas that I had that impacted my parenting style, or impacted the way I would talk verbally. And I think that doesn't happen without me having a child. I don't think I go to therapy. I don't think I do these things in order to be a better parent for her. Because I came to the conclusion is I have to address the things within myself if I want to be the best parent possible. if I don't address these things, it will just be passed down generation after generation. So that's probably one of the biggest things that happened because I had a child.
And that's crazy. So basically, what I got from that is you were a lot more accountable on how you wanted to impact your daughter.
Yeah, because I knew that girls, particularly, when it comes to dads, they really pay attention to their dad. The dad being in the house, the dad bonding with their child, it's very important for girls. For boys and girls, clearly, but girls, that connection is very important because one day my daughter is going to look for a man, right? And it's going to be kind of based off the qualities her dad possessed. So I know I needed to up my game in a lot of areas so that she could see those qualities, and her seeing those qualities and seeing me grow with those qualities, I know that she'll look for those qualities in men when she get older. So I try to think long term. My child's an investment, right? That's how I see it. So I try to invest quality things into her so that investment returns, you know?
Right.
So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
So let's touch on the therapy thing.
Yes, please.
So,
yes, please.
Long story short, in the Black community, I feel as though like I learned about mental health probably like in my early 20s. I think that when I was growing up in my adolescence, I kind of really didn't pay attention to it more so. Okay. I think because I wasn't really enlightened on that type of aspect of my life growing up. It was more so like about physical health, like being athletic or like who can run the fastest, who's the strongest, but never really more so like on the mental approach on how you can be a lot more accountable for your own actions and allowing stop trying to react so much to life and just understand that you always have to have a positive mindset on how you react. So for an example, like the way I was brought up is somebody stepped on your sneakers, for an example. Instead of looking at it like this man just stepped on my sneakers, my new Jordans, or this shorty just stepped on my new Jordans, or whatever the case may be, I can react in a way where it's not going to be in the best of both parties in a way.
Right.
But now, mental health is just more so like, to me personally, it's just like, dang, like I have the power to approach this situation in a positive manner. You know what I mean? Even if this person doesn't even say sorry, I can't even look at it like this person's trying to chump me out in a way. You feel what I'm saying? Like it is like it's just a moment that happened. This person was probably rushing, or this person was trying to do this or that,
right?
Or this person may be having a bad day. So when I took that approach to a positive way, I understood that mental health is very important because not everybody. Like I'm not sure if you were younger when. In elementary school, we had to do these surveys, and it was a question on these surveys, basically saying like when you enter a room and everybody's laughing, or do you think people are laughing at you? Did you have to answer those type of questions?
I do remember answering something like that. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. So like, you either can answer it yes or no, but right then and there, that's just a moment of them trying to assess on how we approach situations, or like some type of analysis on mental health as a kid.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's positive thinking.
Yeah.
So I know you said like, you started to do go to therapy at 19. What was the inspiration? Like, what are some of the things you was like, what, I can't, like, I got, like, were you watching a movie? Like, did you have to go through something? Like, you had a mental breakdown?
At 14, right? My best friend, my closest brother at the time, he died, right? And when he died, my parents tried to get me to go to therapy, and I was just like, no, I'm not doing that. And because I never went to therapy, I carried the pain. I blamed myself, shame, guilt. It ate at me. I became verbally more aggressive towards people, and I isolated myself from people.
Why didn't you want to go to therapy? Like at the age of 14, what did you assume therapy was in the first? Like, what are some of the qualities and words that come to mind when you hear therapy?
I don't think I had an idea of what therapy truly was in my head. I just didn't want to talk about what I was going through. And I knew if I had to talk about what I was going through, I had to relive the pain. So I kept thinking about that. I didn't even think about the setting or what a therapist does. I was more so thinking about my feelings, and I felt in that moment the best way to protect my feelings is to isolate myself and stay to myself. And it wasn't.
And how did that feel? Like, so when you, because I went through similar situations, whereas like, you know, I wanted to isolate myself.
Yeah.
And sometimes like it can be, I guess a decent thing when you need some space, but it can also be like, you know, you kind of like shooting yourself in the foot. So what are some of the things that you felt like when you were isolating yourself? What are some of the feelings, some of the emotions, like things that you were doing, like to really like, you know what, like this probably not, this isn't the best approach.
Uh, it took me a long time to realize that wasn't the best approach. And again, I think it really came to realization when I had my daughter. That really brought it to my attention. Like, yo, like the way I've been handling things, they come from trauma. They come from trauma in my life, and the trauma in my life hasn't been addressed with anyone. You know, I once I got to 19, right, I went to therapy, but moving past that, like now I'm 25. I've done so much as far as addressing trauma with family members that impacted me. I've done these several things to try to better understand myself. You know, so that's kind of like how where I'm at right now. You know, yeah.
And what are you learning about yourself, like self awareness?
I'm learning that, you know, can't isolate yourself, because like you said, you know, it's shooting yourself in the foot when you isolate yourself. Because how can my friends, family understand what's going on if I'm, you know, if I'm face to face, I'm telling you I'm good. Hey, bro, I'm solid.
Right.
Nothing wrong. Everything is good. But behind closed doors, I'm depressed. I'm going through this, that, and the third. You have to be a very, you have to be a person who can pick up on those things to see what's going on. I only had one friend who I was able to really see that I was still going through a lot of things, even though I would say I was good. And I really appreciate that person because it helped me get through it. It helped me get through that pain, the depression, the guilt, the shame.
And you know what's crazy to me, Rone, is like,
yeah,
back in 2021, I had a conversation with one of my guests, and basically I was saying to him, like, you can't love somebody without being vulnerable.
Yeah.
So with all like the emotional support that you were given, like it seems like you got like great parents, and it seems like you have like a great, you know, emotional support with your friends. Why were you like? Why do you feel like a lot of people in this world are kind of like afraid to show vulnerability, even when somebody that loves them unconditionally?
Well, it's the same thing that, you know, been going on for last couple of generations. I'll say, men are told that vulnerability is a weakness. You know, that being vulnerable, being sad, and displaying your sadness is a form of weakness. But instead, you hide those feelings and you do what you have to do. I tried that; it didn't work for me. People can do that, right? But I feel like it takes such a toll on you, your mental health. It's just not the healthy way to go about it. But I think that's really why we have a society like we have now. We don't make it safe for men, particularly, to open up and be vulnerable. You know, sometimes we second guess them. We question their masculinity because, in my opinion, being vulnerable is a part of masculinity.
I agree. I agree.
So I think these factors still play a role today. Why people don't want to open up. You know, I deal with a lot with my job, but I see a lot of men who still don't want to open up. So I think that's where it comes from. I think it's deprived. It's deprived from just like areas of society that we're trying to move from, but it's still plaguing some parts of society.
And what are some of the steps that you took besides therapy to try to be a lot more emotional intelligent? Like knowing that, you know, you're upset, knowing that you're frustrated, I'm gonna deal with it like this in the best healthy manner. Like,
self-evaluation.
Okay.
One of the practices I learned from therapy, a breathing technique, right? Basically, I just take I take deep breath through my nose, breathe out through my mouth,
Right,
and I usually do that for like 4 seconds in between both, right? And that generally helps me have a clear mind, and then I can address what I need to address. Without a clear mind, I don't usually attack tasks properly, I would say, or most efficiently. So when I do that little exercise, it does help me tackle things a little more.
Right. And you know what's crazy? It's like before we had this conversation, you know, we were walking from Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
And I was saying that I wanted to go to therapy, not necessarily because I'm sad or depressed or anything like that.
Absolutely.
It's just more so like you just want to unravel certain things that you never knew. Like you said, self-evaluation and just being a lot more accountable about why you do the things you do, or like this, some of the mistakes that you can make potentially if you continue to act like this. Because not everybody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
So it's always, to me, always about taking accountability on how we want to react. Like one thing about me is I take really serious about, you know, financial independence.
Okay.
So nobody really taught me about the stock market, or like it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you save. And it's not always about keeping up with the Joneses. So me being the person I am, you know, I have a thirst for knowledge. I did a lot of research on the internet about stocks and learn how to budget my money correctly. So the fact that you said, like, you know, when you living in today's age where you have so many potential resources online and you have so much things that you can do, like you decided to go to therapy while you was in school, and that was probably one of the best decisions you probably ever made.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Even though you probably had, like, we all have like trials and tribulations even after. Maybe it's certain exercises or certain things that you can do to continue to, you know, take steps towards happiness or peacefulness.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, out of, you know, your friends and family, did you tell your parents that you were going to therapy, like, during this? Or did you decided, like, you just wanted to?
So when I did it, it was real spontaneous. I only set up my therapy session because I couldn't find my insurance card. It's funny. So I needed to order a new insurance card. So I'm on the phone with them. And then, you know, they said, you ever think about therapy services? And I'm like, no, you know. But when the person said it, I really sat there and thought about it for a second. I'm like, I haven't thought about it, but what's the options? And I stayed on the phone for about an hour and a half, like I was saying. And basically, they set it up for me, and I go next Tuesday, and it was really quick. But it was something that I needed to do, because like we were just saying, you know, I'm not in a crisis or anything, but it's still things I would like to unravel and figure out and hold myself accountable just to be a better person for myself. I want to be the best version of me. That's my goal every day, being the best version of me.
That's good. That's good, because I feel as though, like, when you take that type of mindset and when you actually apply it, you can see your growth in real time sometimes. And sometimes you may not see your growth right away. Like, for example, if we go to the gym, you may not see the results you wanted in a week or two. So the fact that you can continue to be consistent, and that's what all it really is, discipline and consistency. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about your mental health. Because, you feel me?
Yeah.
We all got to go through problems that we don't want to. And it's always something. Like, you see it all the time on Twitter. It's like, dang, like, as soon as you get a piece of money, something happened to your car.
Yeah.
It's always something. But like you said, like, it's always important to take the correct way to understand, you know, everything is not going to be the best during that time.
Yeah. It's like, I say this, you know, it's, we can't choose what happened in life all the time. We can't, right? But we can choose how we react.
That's what I'm saying. And
how we react will ultimately, you know, decide what happens next. We can decide to be angry. We can decide to be happy. But if it depends on the mindset. If you have a positive mindset, you can make some good stuff out of a bad situation.
Right.
You know, you don't ever want to get too down on yourself, because that's how you get into depression and anxiety. Anxiety can form. You know, that's what I learned from my experiences with ups and downs, just with lifing, you know, because life is going to happen.
Okay.
So,
and I wanted to touch on this. So I want to touch on the new book that you got coming out. So what, like, number one, what was the motivation? Like, what was the thought? Like, you was like, I want to write a book. Like, I want to know what the book is going to be on, everything.
In 2019, right? I kept thinking about a lake. I kept thinking about a lake and a boy that was walking to a lake. I don't know why. I can't tell you why.
Okay.
Fast forward to 2023, I was working in the prison, and my brain is different. Like, I can go somewhere, just be there, you know. So I'm working as a correction officer, right? And I'm in the prison, right? And I start thinking about that lake and that little boy, and then I started to think about just other ideas that attach to it. Next thing you know, I started looking up missing people in Philadelphia, and in the surrounding areas. So there was a person I knew who basically they kind of seemed like they vanished, and from there I kind of was inspired to make that little boy about him. So the little boy is basically based on someone's that's missing, right? That's how I got into connecting my book to real life events. So now I'm connecting it to the idea of people who are missing, right? Because that's what my novel's about. It's about this young man and his father going on a trip. During that trip, several events occur, right? And the father basically vanishes. The son then goes on a journey to find his father by researching, by going back to the area where the things took place, starting his own investigation, and that's pretty much how I got started with the novel. Right now we're about 45,000 words in, so you know I'm trying to get it done within this year.
Okay.
Trying to get done by 2025.
Okay.
And yeah, I kind of went off the topic. I feel like a little bit.
No. You basically, I wanted to enlighten the viewers on
Right.
what your story is about,
Right.
what your novel is going to be on.
Yeah.
Now I want to know, like, what was the? So you said, like, basically, one of your friends went missing in a way.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so how do you like when this person, quote unquote, vanished?
Yeah.
Like, did you think this person got killed, like, and just like kidnapped, like?
Realistically, you know, we live in Philly, right? And Philly has some violence going on, right? I'm not gonna say it's the most violent. There's a lot of violence.
It's a lot. Let's be frank.
Right. It's a lot of violence going on, right? So my assumption was he got kidnapped, or he's dead. Those are my two assumptions. Yeah, that's pretty much what I assumed when I first initially found out. I did my own research with a couple other friends. We all got to the same conclusion. And the conclusion basically was we don't know.
Okay.
We don't know.
So what is this purpose of you writing this book? Like, is it just more so for you, like in your self journey, or do you want to?
I want to bring.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I want to bring light to missing persons, for one. Two, in the novel, you'll see I ponder upon the main character in the novel. He ponders upon lots of questions in humanity, from science to technology, history, and those thoughts that he's pondering upon are questions I think society is currently trying to figure out. So I think it relates to a lot of things that are happening in the real world currently, not outside of the missing person. I think it connects on a lot of other levels as well.
And so you explained that. What are some of the things that you feel like you can add to society about your novel? Like you're saying, like, you know, you want to help people be enlightened. Like, to what degree? Like, do you want people to start taking their loved ones a lot more seriously? Start to more so be an advocate to people that are vanishing? An advocate more so about people in the community, like actually raising security up to not make this type of thing happen consistently?
Well, first, I want to bring light to missing people across America. Period.
Right.
Missing Black and brown people just like me. Right.
Right.
I want to bring light to that. And secondly, you know, it's a creative side. I want to just be able to just try something new, and I always love to write, and I think this book allowed me to be creative in ways I didn't know I could be. And I mean that as far as the enlightenment part, because there's a part of my novel where it's like really philosophical. So you can see me, like my personality clearly is in the novel as well. So a lot of those things I was talking about, like the thoughts the character ponder upon, clearly it's me pondering upon those things. So yeah, those I think the novel can offer to society basically, letting people know about missing persons, and 2, the questions that we don't ask. The things challenging status quo. You know, a lot of people don't like that, and when we do challenge status quo, a lot of times people can get upset, arguments can ensue. But I think you said it before the podcast. We can. You said something about like agreeing, but agreeing.
Yeah, we can always have healthy disagreements.
Healthy disagreements, and I think that's what that novel offers. It offers communication, conversation, that we don't generally have on an everyday occurrence. It creates a safe space for you to have those conversations with yourself, because when you read it, you will begin to ask those questions. So yeah, I think those are the main 2 things that the book will hit on.
That's dope, bro. Well, congratulations on even getting started, and congrats on the type of perspective that you want to give your readers insight on, because that's I'm pretty sure, like, with writing a book. So we back. So what are some of the creative challenges that you endure writing the book, and the problems or the challenges that you have? How can you help or assist other people trying to, write a book if that's their goal?
Okay. Questioning whether it's good enough. That's been a big challenge for me. There was a 5-month period where I was just writing consistently. Then I just stopped. And I stopped because I began to question if it would even be good enough, if it would sell. And I allowed others' opinions to seep into my head. And I believed it a little bit, so I kind of fell back off of it. So what I will say is, you have to stay on your mission. Stay focused. There's going to be a lot of outside voices, a lot of people who don't understand why you're doing what you're doing. But you have to be confident with yourself, believe in yourself in order to see these things through. I realized when I started writing, I was going down uncharted territory for myself, because I always written things, essays and stuff like that, of course. But this was something completely different. This was an entire creative piece where I'm working on, right? And when you're going down this uncharted territory, it's going to be a lot of new things that are happening, from writer's block, from loss of motivation, reading your story and realizing, maybe the chronological order doesn't match. But again, even with those problems, reminding yourself that what you're writing is good enough, and staying on your mission, you can see it through. So I will say that just stay on your mission, stay on your grind. Don't allow outside voices who don't understand your creative side to yourself. Don't allow outside voices to take away from what you're trying to do. Because sometimes people who don't understand what you're doing, they can't see the vision, and not everyone is meant to see the vision. So with that being said, you have to find like-minded individuals.
Right.
Find a community where you can find your sense of belonging for what you're working on.
Right.
Because your friends and family that you have currently, they might not understand what you're doing.
Right.
But there is someone or a group of people who do understand what you're doing. So there's always a community that exists for whatever you're looking for.
Okay, so when you're looking for this type of reassurance to keep yourself positive and confident that, what you're doing is something that you genuinely want to do you more so like to look for this community? Like, do you branch out into your local community in person? Is there like a website or a source that you can give viewers more so, just so they can have a community online? Go ahead.
So what I did was I found this website called Skill Success, and I took a free course that they was offering. So basically, they allowed me to pick a course. I picked a course, and the course was about writing. That course touched on self-publishing. It touched on publishing deals. It touched on editors, how to find editors, how to get certain parts of your novel worked on, a complete manuscript, the length of a novel. It talked about so many different things that go into writing, and was by a author himself. So I would say try to find maybe an online course that maybe not so costly, that can be very helpful. read. Whatever you're working on, read that genre. You're working on sci-fi, get a couple sci-fi books. And if it's your first novel, research authors' experience with their first novel. Because what I found is a lot of times we think the first novel is not going to be the bestseller, right? And I haven't released my first novel yet. But your best quality work it should not be your first novel if you think about it. Because your first novel is your first piece of completed work. You should progress over time. So if your first novel is not a bestseller, that's fine. That's okay. You can keep making more novels. When you complete your first novel, the completion in itself will be success to you, because it takes a lot to complete a novel. With so much time, nights that go into making a novel. So I would say that.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that due to the fact that that's how I feel about music. Like an artist's first album should be, decent and strong because it's the opening. You're opening up the experience to your listeners and viewers or whoever supports you. But you should continue to get better and better and better throughout your experience. Because you experience more life, more things that your audience may like, and you have a lot more market research. You know what I mean? Like, you can find out what your audience and viewers don't like. You know what I mean? So that's why I always said, like, it's very important to continue to grow, like, within your field, within yourself, add value. One of my favorite quotes is, "It's a difference between having $1 million in your bank account and being $1 million man. $1 million man can make $1 million in any given lifetime.
Okay.
But if I give somebody $1 million, they're not $1 million man. Financially, they got $1 million in their bank account, but it's a different type of mindset.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you put it into perspective, like, you're going to have creative challenges. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to continue to maybe have self-doubt, but you also going to know, like, I need reassurance. Like, this is who I am. This is something that I genuinely want to do.
And, you asked me something about local supports.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on that.
Yes, sir.
I do have a local support. So I think the universe does everything it does for a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So at the job I'm working at now, right, I didn't realize one of my coworkers has about, I think, 2 or 3 published books, maybe a little bit more than that. I'm not too sure. But I didn't realize that until I sat down and I got out my own way. And basically, I was in my own way is because I always, at my job, I usually keep my office door shut because I'm just working. I'm just doing my work. I'm trying to just focus. So, but when keeping the door shut, it doesn't allow for interaction, right? So I started opening my door more, and I started having a lot more interaction. One day I sat down with my coworker and we talked for about an hour and a half just about work, life, things like that. In that conversation, I found out that a couple rooms down, my coworker, again, had 2 to 3 published books. And I connected with him immediately. The next day I connected with him. So it's been a month since I connected with him, and we meet on a bi-weekly basis to go over my novel. Basically, he reads over the stuff that I'm working on. He gives me pointers, and it's just been very helpful in the process. It's been helpful with my confidence because he loves everything he read so far. And just to see someone who already did what I'm trying to do, it allows me to avoid common mistakes. When someone has an experience of doing the thing that you're trying to do, you have to utilize it because their mistakes, you don't have to make the same mistakes. You can make a more power moves because you now know the path to do the things you're trying to do. So yes, there's been local support in the community, and this guy is very much in the community. So yeah, if you can find local supports, definitely do that. And to find local supports, I would say is you could research Google, of course, but also go to bookstores. If you go to the bookstore, you're likely to find people who may have a similar mindset, or you may just run into a novelist and who just wants to help. So yeah, just want to add that in there.
Yeah, so shout out to your homeboy.
Yeah,
shout out to the support that you're giving in person and locally. I always tell people all the time is like finding a mentor that can reduce your learning curve. Because that's just what it is. Like, you don't have to make the same mistakes that they made, and you can avoid those mistakes and then shorten your time. You know what I mean? Like, you can go straight to successful habits. Like, me being the oldest sibling, like, I always try to encourage my siblings or whoever that I can mentor that, like, you don't got to make the same mistakes I made, like, when I was a adolescent or in my early 20s. Like, you can do it like this. Like, you can go straight to this result. Wow, A and B. And of course, like, you're going to always have to encounter your own experiences and your own unpleasant situations because that's just a part of growth.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you don't have to make the same mistakes I made. Like, that's the whole goal.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's in life. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that you have that type of support, especially when you need to have that type of detail-oriented writing a novel. Because as you know, as well as I know, like, it's creative challenges. It's a lot of, like, writer's block, and it's a lot of self-doubt. But when you have that type of accountability, like, yo, I really want to do this, and be open-minded to criticism.
Yes. Criticism is a big one.
Yes.
Because sometimes we put our feelings in it.
Exactly.
And when the feelings get involved, you know, your feelings may be valid, but they might not be factual.
Exactly.
And that's a big thing.
That's a big thing. And, like, for an example, you hear it all the time. Maybe you got a friend that makes music or a friend that's trying to do something.
Yeah.
And if your friend makes music and it's not to your standard, it's all right to have, once again, an honest disagreement. Because I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings. I'm saying it so you can either take this criticism and have a different perspective, or you can continue to not take my insight and continue to do you. I'm pretty sure Kanye West had to deal with that all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when you surround yourself with yes people, you should literally look around about, like, yo, like, do I really have people that's in my best interest? Or do I have people that just going to tell me what I want to hear during that moment?
Absolutely. I like that a lot because you don't want to have yes men around you.
Yeah.
You don't. No. I want to be challenged because when I'm challenged, I can become the best version of myself.
Exactly.
You know, I don't want nobody just to agree with me, I need to become the best version of myself. So I totally understand that, you know, and I think, unfortunately, again, back to what I was saying, we go based off the feelings. We go based off how we feel instead of the facts. So I think in those situations, a lot of people have to just have to assess themselves, evaluate what's going on.
Right.
You know, take some deep breaths because there's been times when I've been criticized and I wanted to respond with my feelings, right? But I took that moment and took that deep breath. I'm like, okay, I'm tripping. Bro's right. You know, what's being offered is nothing more than advice and nothing more than something that can help me get to where I want to be. So again, it just goes right back to the mindset. We have to adjust our mindset to be able to take on the criticism.
Right. So I'm glad we touched on that because I feel like this is a follow-up question. Yeah. So like I said before, if you guys don't know, I met Rone at Kutztown University. So with that being said, we're an alumni at the same university.
Yes.
What are some of the experiences, memories that you felt like you can tell the viewers that really shaped the person who you are today, and maybe even tell them some of the things that you went through postpone graduating, like maybe like the struggle, or maybe like not really having that type of like I would like to say like preparation to the next step, because I feel like I lacked that. Like me being me, like I really didn't have anybody that graduated that I can look up to. Like, okay, so when I graduate, like I can work at this job, or when I graduate, I can take this approach.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the mistakes that you made in college? What are some of the successes you made in college? Whatever you have to give us, so a lot of the viewers don't make the same mistake, or knowledge that you can give us.
When I was at Kutztown University, I want to say the first thing I feel that I would do better, or someone out there, they could do better when they go to school, utilizing the resources. I didn't realize all the resources of my campus until senior year, when it was critical, when it's time to look for jobs and all those other things. When I started going to the library or going just to different parts of the campus and interacting with people, I'm like, wow, it's so much that's being offered here. Like, I could have literally started a podcast just with the school equipment.
They had cameras. Like, that's how I got started back in 2021. I had no camera.
Yep.
And I went to the library and I ended up checking out a camera. like one of them big Sony Jones.
Yeah,
like you could have easily got started in photography or learn how to edit.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But go on, continue. Like so what's one?
The resources is critical. You know, as far as resumes, like you were just saying, the camera. Another thing I would say is one of the things that I'm thankful for that I did do in my experience is cultivate the friendships that I had. Yeah. Because the friendships that I made back in that was 2018 when I started there, I believe so, 2018. I still have those friendships, and they have only grown. I know daughters now. Like some of my friends that have kids, I see their daughters. I'm with them. I say hi. You know, like that interaction itself is a blessing. You know, so I'm very thankful for the friendships that I have because they help me a lot now. When I'm going through something, you're the first group of friends I'm going to.
Right.
You know, I'm looking to. You know, because they were with me in college, and in college, that was probably my first time being truly independent, cooking for myself in the morning. You know. Just doing the little things that a grown man have to do. My first apartment was up in Kutztown, you know, and those little things I say really helped me even today. But back to what you can do better. I know for me, right? I was a procrastinator, right? But I was a damn good procrastinator.
Clutch bull.
Clutch. Look, man. It could be an hour away from when the final due. It could be, if it's a paper, it's getting done, and I'm getting nothing less than a B+. If it's a paper, I'm gonna write my ass off every time, and that's just what I did. Like I was a procrastinator, but in that procrastination, I could have had an A each time. I had an A+ each time. I was getting a B+ with procrastination. If I would have worked a week before, I would have aced these tests. And it's not about perfection, no. Careers, jobs, they could have seen the GPA and be like, oh, okay. You know, the more likelihood of, you know, them just taking a leap of faith with me, you know. And I'm not saying I had a bad GPA, but just little things like that can help with internships, jobs, people just assuming the best of you. After college though, I would say that's when the journey really starts. You think you're independent in school, you're really independent after school.
Yeah, like you really learn about life after school. Like like school is the easy part, and then it's crazy because when we're in school, we be so eager to get the fuck out, bro. Go back. I'm like, yo, like. I'm tired of being broke. I'm tired of whole time we got a gym right there. Whole time we got people that we can connect with. Whole time we got professors some are willing to go the extra mile. We got job fairs. We got resume builders. We got so much equipment. Like, bro, we could have easily just like one thing I took. And I'm glad I did this. Even though I majored in marketing, I still went to other professors out of my like major. Right. Like I spoke to communication major professors. I spoke with sports management professors. I spoke with so many because I wanted to know, like, okay, I still can use you guys as a resource.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
And one thing I wish I would have did wrong. Is when I got in school, I wish I would have took investing seriously, because all that time, like just imagine you put a few dollars, that money that could have potentially grown in 4 years.
Oh man!
And then you could have went out and you already had a bag potentially.
100%. I think about this a lot.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So like these are the things that I wish I would have known. Yeah. Because when you graduate, you're so ecstatic and so happy that you feel like your life is about to begin. Yeah. And it's going to begin.
It's going to begin, all right. It's going to begin.
It's going to begin. Whether you struggle in the beginning and you get it right, or whether you come out the gate and you struggle later, or whether you just don't struggle at all. Yeah. But you learn a lot. Like, you learn life skills. Like, you learn how to cope with, like, problems. Like, real life problems. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
100%.
I'm glad that you were able to be a lot more transparent on your experiences at school, because we met at school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, all the skills, I'm not going to say every skill, but some of the skills that we did, like we acquired in school, it can translate easily to the workplace. Like, showing up on time is a skill.
Oh, man. 100%.
It's hard. It's hard for me to show up on time. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because when I think about like my early classes that I had when I was in school and how my consistency with going to work, it's funny because like I suck with being on time, and I see why.
Yeah,
I see why.
Like,
I've been prepping myself to be late.
Exactly. Then these are the habits that you either can be accountable and, like you said, self-aware.
Yeah,
I can change this.
Yeah,
or you gonna be, oh well, this is just who I am.
No, you see,
you feel me?
It's funny because the past 6 months I've been doing a lot better.
Good.
And I'm still late. But it's progression.
It's
progression.
I'm not 5 minutes late. I may be 1 minute. Or I'm not 20 minutes late. I'm 5 minutes late.
Yeah. I see the progression with himself.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's what's up, bro. So like certain things like that. And one thing I would say, like if you in school, make sure you're not afraid to learn social skills. Like, it's all right to go in your little dorm or go in your apartment and vibe out, have your personal space.
Yep.
But don't be afraid, because it's potential lawyers, doctors, bankers.
Listen to this.
Police officers.
I'm a person who always stayed to myself. Well, used to. I used to stay to myself a lot. Didn't really care too much from social interaction. When we was in Kutztown, I was in this program called Trio, right?
I heard of that.
And I had an academic advisor, and I felt like he paid a little extra attention. Not saying he didn't pay attention to other kids, but he would just go a little more in depth when we had conversation.
Right.
And I began to get opened up. It took me a while to open up with people, so I began to open up with him, sharing my desires. I shared my passion of law with him, right? And next thing you know, he gets me an internship with his friend who's a judge in Allentown. It was one of the best experiences of my life. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. Till this day, I'm still working on finding my way back to law.
Right.
You know, so like you said, you got to utilize some resources.
Yeah,
you know,
you
got it. And that doesn't happen without me being social. If I was closed lip, closed mouth, that opportunity doesn't present itself. Opportunities don't fall in your lap. You have to still work for them.
Exactly. And, and what we can't allow the listeners and the viewers to not understand is like you said, it may not even happen in a time frame you want it in. You know what I'm saying? Like, success comes sometimes randomly.
Yeah.
When it's least expected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, the time frame we plan on, like, for an example, like, a lot of people say it's normal to graduate in 4 years. That is the standard.
Yeah.
But a lot of people graduate in 5, some 6, 3.5 years.
Yeah.
But everybody progress and everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to understand that that's how life is. Like, for an example, like your friends may graduate within 4 years, some earlier, some later. And some people may even hit the ground running after school. Yeah. But you always have to remain positive, disciplined, and understand that there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and you feel me? I think it's important what you said. You know, I know for me, when I got out of school and I was seeing my friends get jobs in their field, you know, instead of having that positive mindset, saying, yeah, my time coming, I'm proud, I was genuinely happy for my friends.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, I began to question, what am I doing wrong not to land a job myself? So it's great that you said that, because, you know, if you just focus on yourself, you know, focus on the things that you're doing, you'll understand that it's not a race, it's a marathon. You know, it's your marathon at that. You know, just because your friend got this going on, your friend got that going on, that is their marathon. Yours is separate from them. And that's something I didn't understand when I was coming out of Kutztown. And I understand it now, though. And if you're listening, I really hope you hear that. Yeah. It's your marathon. It's not a race. It's a marathon.
Right. And a lot of people don't understand is this.
Yeah.
Social media is so accessible. Like, you start to compare yourself to people that you may not even know. Yeah. And I feel like I was aware of that. Like, yo, I can't compare myself to these individuals because they are only going to post their successes. And that used to cause me to really feel bad about myself.
Yeah.
Like you can be really questioning yourself. In reality, you're doing well. Like you in school. Like you're learning, like you got an emotional support system, but since this person did it faster or longer, you start to question, like, dang, like, am I number one work? And it don't. It's not like you feel as though they don't deserve it. You just like you start to question, am I not working hard enough?
Right.
Am I not smart enough? Like, am I not working in the way whereas I should be?
Yeah.
And it starts to be like, okay, I'm genuinely, comparing myself to people that I may not even know, but in reality, like, you start to overlook how you even got in the position you are. Like, financial aid is a big burden. Even being in school is a burden, bro.
Yes, it is.
That FAFSA?
Man, bro, you
know what I'm saying? Sometimes the FAFSA may not even be enough.
Man, you might still got to come out of pocket.
Still may have to come out of pocket.
Yep.
So that's why I'm telling people, like, you can't compare yourself to certain people because their journey may be different. So even if you get that degree in 6, 7, 8 years, you got it. You feel me?
I feel you 100% because I can relate to it. I feel you on the social media part, especially. There was times, I'm scrolling, I'm seeing people my age with this or that, the material aspect. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing the materials they have, and I'm like, whoa, like, what am I doing? Am I doing something wrong? Am I not doing what I need to do? And you like you just said, you begin to realize no one's posting their failures. Mm-hmm. They're only posting their successes. Mm-hmm. And that's not realistic. Life is ups, is downs. You're not going to just have ups. So when I realized that, that's when I started taking monthly breaks. So I take monthly breaks from social media.
Yeah.
I feel like it's important for me because, I'm on social media like everyone else. I try to limit my time on there, but because of things like that.
Yeah.
But I try to take monthly breaks. And I say when you're trying to lock in, it's really good to take breaks from unnecessary distractions because social media can be an unnecessary distraction at times. It can be a great tool, but it also can be an unnecessary distraction. It's a double-edged sword, So you got to pick and choose how you're going to use it. Mm-hmm. It's a tool. You use it. Don't let it use you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
use it as a resource, but don't let it control how you view yourself and other people.
When you start, deleting your pictures just to post it at a certain time just for likes, and you don't have a business, you're not an entrepreneur and stuff. I think you're a little too deep in.
You heavily invested, and you may want to reevaluate that situation. But I would like to say this, bro.
Yes.
In your early 20s, I felt like I was, like you said, earlier in this conversation, I felt like I was grown. Like you at school, you got your own apartment, you got your own car.
Yeah.
Like you moving how you want to move.
Yep.
And not knowing that your brain ain't even fully developed yet.
Not at all.
So when you move like this, you just sometimes have a different perspective back in your mid-20s. Because in my early 20s, I'm like, I can vote, I can do this, I can do that. Like I got my own. And then you start to really question yourself in a way where it's like, I'm not saying like I said, like you may compare, but you want to get out of that mindset where it's like you got to be more self-aware of what you're doing and how you're viewing certain things and the type of perspective, because your mindset will continue to grow.
Yeah.
I always said, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and invest in those books. Go ahead and invest in those sources that you need to continue to grow. And know that life is a marathon. Like, it's going to take time to get where you want to be. And I had to learn that the hard way. Yes. Like, my greatest challenges came outside of school when I graduated.
I can't agree with that anymore, bro.
You feel me?
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
Just imagine, like, you being in school and you trying to compare yourself, like, I had this at your younger self. Like, you deal with a lot more trial and error after school, and we are in our mid-20s, bro.
Yes.
So that means we have so much more life to grow, but that means that we have to understand that we have to continue to add value and understand that we have to nurture our friends and loved ones, our family, to continue to have those breakthroughs and try new passions.
Yeah.
Like you're writing a book, starting a new podcast, working out at the gym, changing your whole diet. to really inspire the people that you love.
Yeah.
Living unemployed, not really having a sense of purpose. You losing that. Like you think you supposed to have this by this whole time. You in a situation where you didn't even think you would be in. Like, it's real.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to understand, like, that's why, to go back to the beginning of this conversation, it's all right to go to therapy.
Absolutely.
Like, even in the best times, bro, I don't think, like, you can have $1 million and you think your life is going well.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, going to unravel certain things or just maybe expressing certain things that you're not really, I guess, comfortable being vulnerable with your loved ones, because you don't want sometimes your loved ones to look at you differently.
Absolutely.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's an image to uphold.
It's exactly. It's just like that certain type of image, that certain type of expectation that they may have for you. You just don't want to disappoint nobody.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I always tell people, like, do what you want to do as long as you feel like it's best for you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, man, so anything else you want to touch on, like when it comes to the book, like when it comes to anything that you felt like you want to tackle in your 20s? Like, you young, bro. We both young. We got so much life to live, and why not? People in their 50s and 60s always tell me, like, Carlos, you young. Fuck it, just do it big.
There's a lot I want to do, bro. I want to have 5 books done by the time I'm 30.
Okay.
I want to. I don't know yet. I know I want to get back to law. I don't know which route I want to take. I don't know if I want to go to law school, or I don't know if I want to become a judge. I've been looking a lot into becoming a judge. But yeah, like I want to get back into law. I want to work on my novels. I want to get back consistent in the gym. You know, like you said, we're in the mid-20s. I want to get that level of dedication to the gym back. I feel like that will help me in other areas, as far as focus, energy levels, discipline, just being more intentional. So, yeah, I would say, yeah, my novels, that's what I want to work on. I want to figure out what I want to do as far as law, and I want to start working out. And that's pretty much the main 3 things I want to say I want to work on.
Love, bro. And I know that that's highly obtainable for you. Like, you being the man that you are, noticing that you can continue to grow and understand that life is all about a marathon. I understand that, like, if you move with discipline, consistency, and pure intentions, you gonna be blessed in a certain way. Whereas sometimes you may not even know. Like, dang, like, I was really here.
Thank you. I appreciate it, brother.
You feel me? Like, when you look up in 20 years, like, I know you say you want to have 5 books by the time you're 30, and that's definitely obtainable, but when you aim 20 years, you can accomplish so much.
And that's something I got to work on a little bit more.
Time. Yeah. Patience.
Yeah.
Patience, bro. Patience.
Yeah.
I had to learn that the hard way, especially being very ambitious. You know what I mean? So this is the Toast Up segment, bro. Man, toast to you, bro, to being the man you are today, knowing that, listen, valuing mental health, family, and loved ones is always a priority. Knowing that, hey, listen, I may have self-doubt, but at the end of the day, I know I'm going to get where I want to be. And knowing that I may not accomplish it or achieve it in the time frame I want to, but at the end of the day, I'm a go-getter, and I'm going to go get it.
Yes, sir.
So, man, toast to you, Rone, bro. Toast to everything coming in your favor, bro. And toast to your future achievements, bro. Always love, Brisky.
Love you, Brody.
Yes, sir. Love you, too.
Appreciate you, Brody.
Yes, sir, man.
Love you, Brody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Brisky.
And we out here.
Yeah, bro, I can't talk to you for nothing.